This is CBC Here and Now.
An off-duty RCMP officer's conduct is coming under the microscope for the way he arrested a woman in March. Now that woman's caregiver is calling for an apology and accountability. I'll have that story coming up.
We have a serious structural fiscal challenge in this province.
Premier Tony Wakeham delivered a State of the Province update today and says the financial picture is looking dire.
I think it's a conscious funding decision.
I think it's more of an administrative thing than anything.
Immigrant and refugee students briefly lost access to software that helps them learn English, and the Din brothers, who sit on opposite sides of the aisle, have opposing views on how that happened. Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. A complaint has been filed against an RCMP officer following the arrest of a woman who has autism and an intellectual delay. It happened at a local social center for individuals with mental health challenges. The male officer was off duty at the time and outside RCMP jurisdiction. 8 months later, the woman's caregiver wants accountability and an apology. Ariana Kelland has more, but first a warning: some viewers may find the details of this story distressing.
What's wrong with you, honey? What? He's back? There's nobody here, honey.
The woman in this video has been part of Melanie Burns' family for years. She's lived with them for the last 6. But Burns says she's different now.
She's typically a very happy individual. Her favorite thing to do is make bracelets.
CBC News is protecting this woman's privacy. We're not naming her. We can tell you she's 34 years old, has autism, a seizure disorder, and an intellectual delay.
She enjoys things that a child would enjoy. So dolls, she likes to play with dolls. She believes in Santa Claus.
It's an innocence Burns says was taken away after an incident with a police officer on March 21st. It was here during a trip to the Pottle Centre in St. John's, a non-profit social centre for people with mental health challenges. The woman was with a respite worker. She was playing a game on the computer and come closing time didn't want to leave. Burns says she heard it all through the phone. She suggested the respite worker call the Royal Newfoundland Constabulary's mental health crisis team for help.
It wasn't a crisis what was happening, but at that point, if we've exhausted what we could do, what could we have done next? I heard a staff member say, "No, that's okay, I just called my boyfriend, he's a police officer."
This man, David Benko, arrived soon after. The RCMP officer was off duty and in a jurisdiction policed by the RNC.
I received another call, which I have evidence of. I could hear a big commotion, screaming, "You're hurting me, you're hurting me, you're hurting me."
The caregiver didn't want to go on tape, but she's given her account of what happened to CBC News, and she paints a chaotic picture. She alleges that Constable Benko dragged the woman down over the stairs, and she says the woman she was caring for wasn't violent. It's a fact that was stated in an email from the RNC to Melanie Byrne, stating that the woman was simply sitting in front of the computer, refusing to leave. Benko arrested her and said she was being charged with mischief because the building had closed just minutes before. Is she ever charged with mischief?
No, she was not. So I spoke to the RNC officer and he said we're absolutely not charging her with anything.
But Burns says the damage has been done.
It's just her spark is gone.
The province's serious incident response team declined to investigate the officer. It says the incident doesn't meet its criteria. The RNC did investigate a possible charge of assault, but it concluded its case and didn't lay any charges against David Benko.
They advised me that when a person is in a facility and a facility has closed, an officer has a right to physically remove them from the premises.
The local RCMP isn't commenting, but acknowledged it has received a complaint. The Civilian Complaints Commission says it does not confirm or comment on complaints. Byrne provided CBC with a letter written by the Commission this spring confirming an investigation is ongoing. Benko did not respond to CBC's request for comment.
It could have been approached in a very different way.
This summer, Leah Farrell of the Autism Society wrote a letter of support for the woman. She believes this incident underscores deep systemic failures.
Everybody's brain works differently, and it's important to be able to assess a situation and meet somebody where they're at. So that does take a level of education and understanding and empathy.
So where is the Pottle Centre in all of this? The nonprofit has been around for more than 40 years, and in an email to Melanie Byrne said that an incident like this has never happened before. It says it has reviewed what happened back in March, as well as its policies and procedures.
That's not enough for me. I want to know exactly what you're doing.
Did they apologize?
No, they didn't.
We tried to talk to the people at the Pottle Centre too, but our calls and emails went unanswered. This bedroom has been empty since March. The woman has been in hospital ever since, with a small break at home in between. Her seizure condition has worsened, though there's no evidence it's directly connected to what happened. Byrne looks forward to the day when she's back home.
I don't know if she will ever be the same again after this incident, but I'm not going to give up. My foot is on the gas, and until someone takes accountability for what happened to her, I'm not going to stop.
Ariana Kelland, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, Tony Wakeham gave his first State of the Province address as Premier in St. John's today. Wakeham says the Progressive Conservatives will keep their promises, but he also warned there are looming fiscal challenges to tackle. Here and Now's Mark Quinn reports.
Giving his first speech on the state of Newfoundland and Labrador to the St. John's Board of Trade, Premier Tony Wakeham said the previous government left the province's finances in bad shape.
How do I say that without sounding like a broken record of everybody that sounds that? Let's just say that it's disappointing.
This past September, the Liberal government pegged the provincial deficit at more than $625 million.
Based on my early briefings, there is reason to believe that even that number doesn't reflect the true debt of our provincial deficit. We have a serious structural fiscal challenge in this province.
Wakeham promised the new Minister of Finance will give the public full details of the true state of the province's finances in December. He said his government won't make dramatic cuts. He also said it will keep the promises it made during the election to improve health care and lower taxes. Wakeham said some increased revenues will come from squeezing more hydroelectric power out of Labrador.
We will develop Churchill Falls and Gull Island. We will electrify Labrador.
However, the Premier also said the province won't rush into an agreement on Churchill development. He said government officials are currently drafting terms of reference for an independent review of the MOU with Quebec.
This independent review will be truly independent.
Wakeham also sent a message to the federal government. He's calling for more national defense spending. He also said Newfoundland and Labrador is back in the oil industry and he wants more federal help.
Designate the Beta Nord oil and gas project as a major project in the national interest.
Wakeham is scheduled to meet with Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney in Ottawa tomorrow. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
Now, Premier Wakeham also says the legislature will remain closed until the spring session. In recent years, the fall sitting of the House of Assembly has typically ended anywhere between the middle of November to early December. The Premier blames the judicial recount of election results in Topsail Paradise for skipping this year's fall session. Well, CBC News has learned that last month, schools in this province lost access to programs used by immigrant and refugee students to learn English. It's the second year in a row this has happened, leaving teachers scrambling. Patrick Butler reports.
CBC Radio-Canada spoke to 3 educators who teach English as an additional language. We're not identifying them because they weren't authorized to speak publicly. The teachers described the scramble they faced when licenses expired for programs such as RAS Plus and IXL. They say losing access to the software is like teaching math or science without any textbooks, in a class where every student has a different level of English proficiency. They also highlighted the vulnerability of many of their students, some of whom are refugees whose families fled war zones. Last Friday, weeks after the first software licenses expired, but just 36 hours after we sent our first questions to the Education Department, teachers received word that access to the software will be restored permanently.
I think it's a conscious funding decision.
NDP leader Jim Dinn dealt with the same issue last fall. The department didn't renew the licenses, then reversed course just before the House of Assembly reopened.
The department officials probably reversed it because of the fact that you asked the question. Teachers had been making the previous administration aware of this, and nothing was done.
Last year, subscriptions for the software cost $43,000. Patrick Butler, CBC News, St. John's.
Now, in response to that story, the new provincial education minister says the expiration of the software licenses was not a budgetary issue.
I think it's more of an administrative thing than anything, and hopefully we'll get that rectified for the years to come. It's back in now, of course. Yeah.
So it wasn't a budgetary...
No, not at all. Not at all.
And Paul Dinn's remarks came following his swearing-in ceremony this morning.
I, Paul Dinn, swear that I am fully qualified to hold the office of the member for District of Topsail Paradise, to which I have been elected.
Dinn officially takes his place as the PC member for Topsail Paradise more than a month after the provincial election. He successfully won a recount requested by the Liberal Party, beating out former Paradise Mayor Dan Bobbitt for that seat.
I was ready weeks ago, and I haven't stopped. I've been trying to get stuff done, but now I've got the stamp of approval, so it's full force ahead. It's great, you know. It's a step forward now, and I can go ahead full steam now and represent the fine constituents of Topsail Paradise. So it's nice to have that behind me.
Well, also at Confederation Building today, the province marked the start of the Purple Ribbon campaign against gender-based violence. The CBC's Maddie Ryan was there.
In the arms of the angel.
It was an emotional morning at the Confederation Building on Tuesday, where a ceremony marked the beginning of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, also known as the Purple Ribbon Campaign.
We are here because too many lives have been shattered by gender-based violence. We are here because silence is no longer an option. And we are here because change begins when we choose courage together.
In a world that she can't rise above, but her dreams...
Statistics Canada says more than 11 million people in Canada have experienced intimate partner violence since the age of 15. It can take multiple forms like physical and sexual abuse and even murder. The type of incidents that have touched many of the people at Tuesday's event, like Lisa Lake, whose daughter Courtney went missing in 2017.
There are moments in life when the world breaks open, suddenly, without warning, and nothing is ever the same again. The day my daughter was murdered is the day my world split in two. The life I had before and the life I'm learning to live after.
Although loss and grief filled the room, Lake says the overwhelming support for families like hers is a sign that change is coming and that this type of violence can be prevented.
Courtney's gone 8 years in June, 8.5 years, but I said there was something about today that was powerful. And I mean, when I gave my speech and, you know, looking around, it's the first time that the Premier and the ministers have been seated here. If she was here today, she would say, Mom, stop talking about me like that. You know, she was that kind of person. No, I'm not doing that. But yeah, she's proud. I know she. Not only what I'm doing for her, but what I'm doing for some of her friends that are in the same situation that she was, right? Yeah.
Lake says moving forward, the justice system in the province has to change. Meanwhile, Conway Ottenheimer promised that Newfoundland and Labrador will implement a violence prevention strategy. The Purple Ribbon campaign continues through December 10th. Maddie Ryan, CBC News, St. John's.
I was scared for my life. I was scared to be a father. And then I was scared about the baby, what I'm gonna do. am I going to be in his life or not?
We'll hear from a man in St. John's who has received a terminal cancer diagnosis during an ongoing fight for permanent residency.
It is time for the weather. Carl is out and about.
Yes, there are a lot of folks here in the Avalon Mall cinemas playing chess.
How do you do, sir?
Federal Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre visited the province over the weekend. In a post on his social media accounts, Poilievre says he visited Deer Lake, Clarenville, Grand Falls, Windsor, and St. John's to discuss lowering costs to make homes and food more affordable. Pictures show Poilievre with MPs Clifford Small and Jonathan Rowe, and there may have been another purpose for his visit. It's been announced that Steve Outhouse will be Poilievre's new campaign manager, replacing his former campaign manager, Jenny Byrne. Outhouse is currently on Premier Tony Wakeham's transition team and managed his successful election campaign earlier this fall. Well, a man with terminal cancer in St. John's is fighting for legal status in Canada. Asif Prince is originally from Bangladesh, and he's been diagnosed with terminal cancer. He's now fighting for permanent residency, but his lawyer says the wait time recently increased to 10 years. The CBC's Abby Cole has that story.
3 years ago, two things happened to Asif Mohammed Prince that would change his life forever. First, he was diagnosed with cancer and underwent emergency surgery here at St. Clair's. Second, he found out he was about to become a father. Originally from Bangladesh, Prince was studying business at Memorial University when he got his diagnosis.
I was scared for my life. I was scared to be a father. And then I was scared about the baby, what I'm gonna do. Am I gonna be in his life or not?
Prince's prognosis is bleak. His doctor says he will likely only live 2 to 3 years, and his treatment is considered palliative.
So diagnosis right now is incurable metastatic thyroid cancer. So my doctor said they tried their best to do it, but my cancer is not responding to any treatment.
Too sick to stay in school, Prince now has a visitor's visa, which means he can't work, apply for social assistance, or access Newfoundland and Labrador's medical care plan. Lawyer Megan Felt helped Prince apply for a permanent residency based on humanitarian and compassionate grounds. But the wait time is 10 years. Processing times for Canadian immigration applications have skyrocketed after the federal government made changes to how it processes applications.
As a visitor, I cannot work legally. I cannot access any support. So how do you expect someone to cover or live with dignity when there is a dependent you have to take care of?
Going back to Bangladesh is also not an option for Prince. Not only does he have a child here in St. John's, his doctor says that it would not be safe for him to fly due to high blood clot risk.
I cannot live here. I'm barely living here. And with my condition, I cannot wait 10 years plus.
Prince's best hope is an agreement in principle. That's a letter from the Immigration Department that says his application meets all the requirements, but still requires background checks. His lawyer says that if he received this, he'd be able to apply for an open work permit, which would allow him to work, access medical coverage, and other income supports to support him and his child.
So my goal is to work, have some savings, spend some time with him, and secure a future for him somehow, to my best of ability. And that's what actually keeping me going on every day.
Prince has sent letters to his MP, Joanne Thompson, and the immigration minister asking for the process to be expedited. Thompson's office has made multiple urgent requests, but all have been refused. In the meantime, Felt says it's absolutely critical Prince is granted status because he has legal custody over a Canadian child.
There is a legal principle called best interest of child. That is a international legal principle that basically indicates that that when an application is being assessed, that government have to look at whether what would be in the best interest of the child in this scenario.
Prince is now waiting and hoping for an agreement in principle, but the federal government couldn't say how long such an agreement would take, and given his terminal diagnosis, he doesn't have 10 years to wait. Abby Cole, CBC News, St. John's.
All right, Ashley's here with a look at the weather, and yeah, it was a nice day. Pretty quiet. There's not a whole lot going on, I guess.
Not here. Not here in the east. No, some sunshine today, a lack of wind, which felt beautiful. So even though those temperatures were only sitting in the single digits this afternoon, it felt warmer. So 5 degrees was the daytime high in St. John's. Cape Race was the hot spot across the province, 6 degrees. Today, but you head towards the northern peninsula and up across Labrador, and those temperatures are much cooler, sitting near or even a little bit below zero in some cases, particularly for St. Anthony at -1, and then the coldest temperatures in Lab City and Churchill Falls at -5 this afternoon. Not a whole lot going on weather-wise. We are sitting generally under a ridge of high pressure, but we do have a few showers happening, or flurries rather, happening on the west coast of the island, and that is going to continue to head across the island as we head through the day, or through the night rather, tonight, and we can see that already showing up on the radar. Most of the accumulation happening west, just a few flurries now or wet snow happening through central areas of the island, and it is headed towards the Bonavista Vista Peninsula as well as the Clarenville area, and then it will eventually make its way towards the Avalon. So expect that to happen over the next couple of hours, but it won't last long, which is good news. But still looking at most of that accumulation happening on the west coast, and you can see that because the temperatures are cooler. 0 degrees right now in Corner Brook, Grand Falls, Windsor, and Gander also sitting at the 0 degree mark, and then towards Terra Nova and St. John's around 1 or 2 degrees. So expect that temperature to continue to drop as we head through tonight. And again, just taking a look at the future tracker, just to time that out. So say in the next hour or so, we should start to see some of that wet snow, particularly sticking in the higher elevations along southern areas of the island as well as the Burin Peninsula. This should fall as rain because your temperatures are actually going to stay a little warmer. Now, by the time we get to about midnight, that should end. Those of you on the west coast, though, will see that end a little sooner. However, you'll continue to see some scattered showers or flurries through the overnight as well, continuing pretty much into the first part of tomorrow. Although the sunshine, the first part of the day anyway, should feature some sunshine for eastern Newfoundland through parts of central, as well as the northern peninsula and coastal areas of Labrador. Now, as far as what's left to fall, again, higher elevations on the west coast. That's where most of the activity will be. You could pick up another 5-ish centimeters tonight, and then most of what does fall will not last long for central and eastern Newfoundland. In fact, it may not even stick. But if the temperatures do drop below zero, things will get a little slippery, so keep that in mind if you are headed out this evening. Temperatures should hover around the 0 degree marker, a little bit above again across the island, across the Avalon rather. In the higher elevations, temperatures may be a little cooler. That's where things might stick, but overall minus single digits. Marystown, you should hover around 3 degrees overnight tonight, and up across Labrador, the coldest temperatures in Lab West around -10. Otherwise, somewhere between -2 and -8 for your overnight lows. And again, likely quiet weather, and it will be quiet for you across Labrador to start the day as well. Some lingering flurries will continue for those of you in Lab West. Other than that, it will turn into an absolutely gorgeous day for the rest of Labrador. Same thing for the northern peninsula. Expect plenty of sunshine tomorrow. However, our next area of low pressure is going to move in. Most of us should see cloudy skies through the day. Again, a few lingering flurries or showers on the west coast, and then this system will just skirt the southern areas of the island. Now, this model showing that we could see some inland and higher terrain snow on the southern areas of the island, so keep that in mind if you're traveling along the highway. And then Right towards the coast, though, this should fall as rain, and we'll see that pretty much move across as we towards the Avalon as we head into the evening hours and continue through most of the night. We'll eventually start to see things end for the west coast. Starting southwest coast anyway, starting late in the overnight and then clearing by the time we get into Thursday morning. So your daytime highs tomorrow will sit somewhere between 3 and 6 degrees. Again, winds will be out of the west, a little breezy, around 40 kilometers per hour. Northern Peninsula, although you'll see sunshine, it will be a little chilly, only about -2 through the day. Coastal areas of Labrador around 0 or a little bit below, and then the rest of the big land somewhere between -2 and -5. Cold air coming eventually next week. I'll get into that a little later.
Thanks, Ashley. Well, the Premier says the consulting firm Deloitte will not be hired to review the Churchill Falls MOU. The company is facing criticism after reports that a government-funded healthcare report prepared by Deloitte contains fake citations that could be linked to the use of artificial intelligence. Now, Tony Wakeham says his team plans to explore ways to avoid the use of AI in government.
I certainly will be talking to my officials about those reports. I think it's unacceptable, and we will certainly have those conversations. It is definitely concerning, and I think, when you hire professional organizations to prepare reports, then you don't expect to get this type of things happening in those reports. So there needs to be a review done here for sure.
Yeah, Premier, regarding the review, I mean, what's your understanding of how much provincial government uses AI right now? And do you think a full review of that should be necessary?
Oh, I think so. I think you've seen the Privacy Commissioner come out and talk about that already. Privacy Commissioners all across the country have talked about that. And it's very disturbing that we find ourselves with reports. And no matter what is said in the report, fact of the matter, we're not talking about what was in the report. We're talking about references and the fact that these mistakes were made, and they should never have happened.
But just going back to my question, what's your understanding of how much government uses it right now?
Well, right now, to my best of my knowledge, we do not use that internally significantly, but I'm going to make sure that we don't.
Are you going to bring in guidelines? NAPE president said to CBC yesterday that he would like to see guidelines be brought in by the government for when these future reports are commissioned. Is that something you're interested in?
I think it's a great idea.
Will you be hiring Deloitte to do the Churchill Falls MOU review?
No.
Well, Deloitte Canada turned down an interview request, but in a statement says AI was not used to write the report. It was selectively used to support a small number of research citations. Now, Deloitte also says it stands behind the recommendations in the report, and it's making a number of citation corrections, which it says does not impact the report's overall findings. Well, maybe you've read it or someone has read it to you, but there's a good chance you know Goodnight Moon. And now in St. John's, you can go inside the pages.
I'm Laura Howells here at a new exhibit at the Rooms that brings to life the classic children's book, Goodnight Moon. So let's step inside the Great Green Room. In the Great Green Room, there was a telephone and a red balloon and a picture of the cow jumping over the moon. And there were 3 little bears sitting on chairs and 2 little kittens and a pair of mittens, and a little toy house, and a young mouse, and a comb and a brush, and a bowl full of mush.
So, welcome to the Great Green Room, and almost every object in the book is acknowledged as you turn the pages. I was trying to figure out why this would be one of the most popular books of the 20th century. The colors are harsh, there's not an easy narrative resolution to the story. There's not actually a moral to it, where most fairy tales and stories for children, even to the present day, will have some sort of a lesson built into it. So I was really curious about what made the book work.
Margaret Wise Brown published the iconic bedtime story in 1947, with pictures by Clement Hurd. Matthew Robin Nye says art for kids is often put in a separate category than art for adults.
But I actually think this is one of the great works of the 20th century. And this is a way to explore it and try and tease out why that is.
Here, people are welcome to interact with the Great Green Room, not just look.
things that I've seen people do in previous versions of this installation. Little kids get into the bed immediately and ask someone to read to them. They crawl around and look at the details. Older people are looking for different things. They're accessing memories.
So what is your own personal history with Goodnight Moon? Did you read it as a child?
I don't have a strong recollection, to be honest. I think I did. I have a feeling of a memory of it more than I have an actual memory of it. My mom died when I was young, and so there's sort of a cut in my own memories between before and after that event. So I think I have an abstract nostalgia for it, which is like, it is a nostalgia for a childhood that I can half remember. But that's also sort of the feeling of Goodnight Moon. It's atmospheric.
The exhibit is on at the Rooms in St. John's until March. Laura Howells, CBC News, in the Great Green Room, St. John's.
Seven years ago, Leslie Rideout started a small Christmas charity to help those in need. And since then, the Christmas Miracles campaign has grown to fill 400 blessing bags each December. Now, to help meet that need, they're teaming up with the Crossroads Inn, the Gathering Place, and the Northeast Avalon Fire Chiefs.
Started a program in memory of my parents 7 years ago. It's called the Christmas Miracles Campaign. It started as a little thing in my basement, doing some food hampers, some community outreach, and it kind of grew. We had a lot of people wanted to help, and it got too big for the basement. Decided to make it a little more formal. 3 years ago, we partnered with the Gathering Place. Crossroads Inn and Suites by far has stepped up to really spearhead this with me.
We love doing it. Every year when December comes, right from the Salvation Army to, we do a lot of other charities and stuff during December month, but the Gathering Place has been really close. We actually come down and serve Christmas dinner, and all of our staff volunteer their time and come collect things and have a lot of fun here. And, you know, it's just nice to give back, right? I mean, I guess we don't realize in life what we have until a point in time is we have nothing. And there's a lot of people that come here that have nothing.
Last year we grew to, the need was 400 blessing bags. So each blessing bag has, you know, hats, mitts, socks, toiletries, just the, you know, the general comforts that we can offer this time of year.
Every year, even this year included, over 1,000 people use our boutique and expect services from us, and it's not just it's a need. It's a real issue that we have in our community right now. And throughout the winter, people will be told that we don't have room. Like there will be times when we had to say that, and so we'll be able to give a hat, a warm item, gloves, sometimes hand warmers, all these things, and so we'll be able to meet the need.
So reached out to the Northeast Avalon Fire Chiefs, and they came on board with amazing, they were so great to us. Right away, all of the chiefs were, what can we do? How can we help? And we said, well, what we really need is a place where people can bring their donations. You know, it's hard this time of year to always ask people for a big monetary donation. Not everybody can do that. Not everybody has the means, but a lot of people just want to help. So if you can pick up an extra pack of socks when you're at the grocery store or Walmart or wherever, or you've got some new things in your cupboard, somewhere that was convenient. So we had the fire department say, listen, we'll open our doors, we'll have collection bins for you, we'll collect your toques, mitts and socks. They can be dropped off in St. John's, Central Fire Station will be collecting. In CBS, it will be the fire station. In Holyrood, at the fire station. In Portugal Cove St. Philip's, Torbay and Pooch Cove will be at their town halls, and in Harbour Main will be at their town hall as well.
Now to the other side of the island, a popular convenience store on the West Coast is hosting its annual Winter Coat Drive. Thousands of coats come in and out of the doors at Fox's General Store in Curling each November. The owner started the clothing drive nearly a decade ago, filling a need she noticed in her community. People donate winter coats and pants or visit the store and take what they need. Right now, there's a big push for more men's winter jackets in particular. Michelle Payne says she offers a welcoming environment for anyone who may need a good coat this season.
There's a huge need everywhere, especially this community. People just don't have like they used to have. Cost of living is expensive, as we all know. Everything is so expensive that every penny you can save, well, that's something, right? It's something for your kid's lunch, or it's an extra Christmas gift, whatever. If you don't have to buy that winter jacket as a Christmas gift or something, well, then you can give them something that they actually want versus need.
A local animal rescue group is facing a severe pet food shortage. Heavenly Creatures says demand for their services has increased significantly, and now they're almost out of cat food.
We really aren't exaggerating when we say that the last year or two, there really has been a difference. So, as I was saying to you last evening, we've never before received calls from people saying they're living in their cars with their pets. That's been new the last couple of years. Or living in tents. We've certainly had people tell us in the past that they've been evicted, but it seems that the stories about eviction have just skyrocketed. The housing crisis is affecting a lot of people. And so we're seeing people that you wouldn't expect to see at the food bank. More and more seniors are coming over, more and more people who are telling us that they really are having to choose between feeding themselves and their pets and paying rent.
Wow.
There's been huge emphasis on that from people when they come to the food bank.
I mean, just to reemphasize what Jessica was saying, we're seeing a lot of seniors whose rent, it just goes up and up and up. price of food's going up and up and up. They're desperate, and it's not great. And a lot of them, their cat, their dog is their only companion. And like she said, a lot of people say they go without food before their animals do. So in a roundabout way, we're kind of feeding people too, you know. But it's been a struggle the last 6 months. It's been getting really bad.
And Ivan, this week you're pretty much out of dry cat food. Is that right?
Running on fumes. It's the time of the year. It's the really large increase in demand. I've been doing this for years, and the last year, I'd say, it's really ramped up. You see, the vast majority of our people who come to the food bank are lovely people. They're just struggling, and you know, I think I'm sitting here now just thinking of this one gentleman. I'm partial to old fellas because I'm one. And he has a big dog, and he has nothing else in his life, and he loves that dog. And, you know, I told him, we're going to try and be there for you if anything goes wrong, because he can't feed it. But, I mean, they're just the bond that they have, you know. And so we try, and he's not the only one, he's just the one who comes to mind. But that's what we try to do, is help those people in that situation.
These kittens are about a week away from...
Well, Canada has lost a shining light of the curling world and the broadcasting world. Former CBC reporter Colleen Jones has died after a private 3-year battle with cancer. Her family says she passed away in Nova Scotia with her husband and sons beside her as she gazed out at the ocean from her favorite spot. Her Halifax colleague Tom Murphy looks back now on her remarkable life on the air and in the rink.
You could see it in the eyes, the intense competitor that was Colleen Jones. Her unwavering focus, willing her team to victory time and time again. 6-time national curling champion. 2-time world champion.
It's just great to be on top. We worked really hard this year for this.
2-time Canadian mixed champion and world senior champion. One of the greatest curlers of all time.
Oh, I'm going faster.
And a trendsetter. She was among the first to push for higher fitness levels among all curlers. Barriers meant little to Jones, eventually coaching her own son's team at the Brier, the men's championship.
I always wanted to play in the Brier, oddly, so to be here as a coach is a dream come true.
A member of Canada's Sport Hall of Fame, she was a role model for young athletes.
It's given us friends and memories and a discipline that has stayed with us, and we're all very thankful for that, and we like to push that on to the next generation, the value of sport.
Colleen Patricia Jones.
A wife, a mother, a grandmother, and an intensely proud Nova Scotian, recognized with an Order of Canada for paving the way for women in sport and broadcasting.
Really just wanting to see what else I could do. How far can you push yourself, your mental capabilities, your technique, your ideas of trying to get better? To kind of just trying to keep chasing that was the journey I loved, almost more than the winning.
As a sports commentator and CBC journalist, it was with her heart that Jones led, telling stories with empathy and a smile that put the interviewee at such ease.
Mabel Robinson's the kind of person everyone should meet.
The audience lived vicariously through her adventures.
I'm taking a break, not because I desperately need one.
You did it! You did it! As an author, she once wrote a book all about rising to the top, only to learn how easily it can all be taken away.
Have gratitude for today.
At a recent announcement for her Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame induction, a steely, positive determination, even in the face of coping with cancer.
I think persevering in everything in life is just a character trait we all need to develop. That, you know, you might not like what happened yesterday. Today's a chance to make it better. And tomorrow hasn't even entered the world yet. So don't worry about tomorrow. Just be persevering today, be strong today.
True to form, a fighter to the end, the mark of a real champion, of living life to the fullest. Tom Murphy, CBC News, Halifax.
details.
Well, as we mentioned earlier in the show, Paul Dinn was sworn in as the PCMHA for Topsail Paradise today. And there was one very special guest at the House of Assembly for the ceremony, his mom.
Who was the most misbehaved between the two Dinns?
Tell the truth.
No, they're,
No.
they're both good boys. Good boys, good men. Yeah.
Anyway, this is our foundation here. No doubt about it, right? And with any family, you got to have that cornerstone. And this is our cornerstone, isn't that right, Jim? Yeah.
No.
This is why we're here.
Did
you want to stay here, or you want to?
No, I
No.
don't.
Come on, I'll get you out in the lobby then.
Yeah.
See you, Mother.
Oh, I love that. The
What a great
brothers
moment.
Dinn,
It's
yes, of
so
course.
sweet.
Paul Dinn, the PCMHA, and then Jim Dinn, his brother, the leader of the NDP. So, yeah, brothers on both sides of the aisle. And
Love it.
Love to see his mom in there.
That was
today.
excellent.
Oh, fantastic. All right, so let's talk about the long-range forecast now. What's in store for us later this week?
Well, we've got a little bit of weather as we head through late week. We've got some showers and potentially some snow. So let's take a look at what's going on until we get there. So Wednesday evening, we'll see that rain for southern areas of the island. Again, there's a chance we could see some inland or higher terrain snow along the south coast there. So keep that in mind. But as we head into Thursday, it'll start quiet, but our next weather maker will move in. And this one may bring some freezing rain to start on Thursday morning. Keep an eye out for that. And then eventually some rain and some snow for the northern peninsula. But you can see that pink there showing up, and that could potentially be some freezing rain. So I'm certainly going to keep an eye on that one. South of that, temperatures will be much warmer and things should fall as rain into the evening hours. But that snow will push into the northern peninsula and then eventually will push in for Labrador through the overnight. But most of your Thursday will actually be fairly nice up across the Big Land. Your daytime highs will sit somewhere between -3 and -7. That snow in there and the icon will again be that snow that moves in late day. And really, some areas could see as high as 5 to 10 centimeters of snow through Friday morning as that system moves through. Now, temperatures, like I said, will be on the warm side between about 3 and 11 degrees, the warmest temperature south. But the northern peninsula, you'll hover around the 1 degree mark. So what does fall will fall as snow through the overnight and into early Friday morning. And we can see that as that progresses north there. Eventually by Friday morning, you will see that temperature jump back up above zero for the northern peninsula, so that will change over to rain, and we'll see that transition as well for southeastern portions of Labrador as we head into the afternoon on Friday. Then another push of moisture will move in Friday afternoon, and we'll see that chance of showers again pretty much across the island portion as we head into the evening. Now for Labrador, most of you through Friday will be seeing some snow, which will be heavy at times as well. And again, about 5, maybe 10 centimeters, maybe more in some cases as well. So if you have any travel plans for your Thursday into Friday, keep an eye on the forecast. Your daytime highs on Friday across the island will sit between 3 and 7 degrees. Warm again, well, warm relatively speaking, above zero for most of Labrador, with the exception of Lab West, where you'll sit around -6. Taking a look at the long range forecast, your temperatures will sit somewhere in the single digits above zero Thursday, Friday, with some rain that'll continue into Saturday. But Sunday, temperatures will drop, and we're looking at the potential for some flurries in St. John's and eastern Newfoundland. Central Newfoundland, things will quiet for the weekend, but dropping as we head into Sunday. And then for Western Newfoundland, you are looking at flurries or light snow pretty much through next week, with your temperatures dropping to about -2 by the time we get into Sunday. Also, temperatures across Labrador really cooling down as we head towards towards next week, with some sunshine on Sunday, but -8 For eastern Labrador and western Labrador, you're going to stay well into the minus single digits. Unsettled weather, some sun on Sunday, but they'll also come with some flurries. But like I said, temperatures really cooling down into next week. But I'll have more on that coming up a little later in the week.
Another rainbow.
Another rainbow. So many rainbows. This one is on the way to Chance Cove. Marie shared that great shot with us. If you have any weather photos, we'd love seeing them. And you have rainbow photos, why not? Send them to my Facebook page or email them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
I guess enjoy them while we can, because
That's
as the temperature cools down, we won't be seeing rainbows for a while.
We'll see. Snowbows? I don't know. Fog bows? All of the above.
All right, well, that's it for us. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good night.